How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. Today we have 500 million reasons to extend Juan Soto. I kind of feel like this should be an easy one for the Yankees. Look, you reflect on George Steinbrenner and past generations. They go out and get Hall of Fame players. They don't withhold their money from acquiring the best talent in baseball. The Yankees have always been the epitome of spending and epitome of adding these faces, these names, and then maintaining them for the better part of a decade. That's how you become great. That's how you maintain greatness. Juan Soto is showing us that he needs to be a Yankee for a very long time. Why? Because he's added an element to this team that we simply have not had. With Judge kind of struggling, he had a decent game yesterday in the first game of that doubleheader, had a couple hits, and, look, he's going to heat up, but you can't win a championship with just Judge, and we've already seen that be the result of multiple seasons. You need more. You need more firepower, and Juan Soto is the perfect complement. Not only is he having a better season than Judge up to this point, but he does it consistently every single season. The guy just doesn't go through these extensive cold streaks. Even if he has a bad game, he shows up the next day and he dominates. He doesn't go 2 weeks without getting a hit. He goes maybe one game, has a couple of decent hit balls, doesn't go his way. Next game, 3-run homer, and suddenly he's on the board. That's the type of player that Juan Soto is. And by the way, the guy has like 2 outs above average and a couple defensive runs saved already. He's been a pretty solid defender this season, which is, kind of surprising based on his past metrics. So we'll talk about Juan Soto's impact on this team, why the Yankees need to extend him. It's not even a question. It's more of a when and not if. But Ryan, before we dive into it, how do you do today, my friend?
I'm doing very good, and as you mentioned, Juan Soto has just looked like a much better baseball player, and that's because the underlying skills have gotten a lot better too, like kind of lost in the shuffle of, and shuffle is pun intended there, of the Yankees being so good has been Juan Soto is playing really good baseball, but it's not just, oh, Juan Soto's red hot, like that's just what's going on right now. He looks a lot better. Like if you look at his sweet spot rate, 35.4%, that is the highest of his career since 2019. That has resulted in the highest expected batting average he's had since 2021 at 302. His quality of contact, which is measured by expected weight on base average on contact, is 441, right around where it was last year when he had a career high 36 home runs. His walk rate, 19.4%, that's up from last year. His strikeout rate, 13.9%, that's down from last year. That's an improvement. His chase rate is down from 20% to 15.3%, or excuse me, his O swing percentage, which is your outside of zone swing rate, which essentially is your chase rate. And then his zone swing rate went from 60.2% to 64.8%. His swing decisions are remarkable. Like, they've always been remarkable, but somehow, Alex, they have gotten better, and he's hitting the ball harder, 95.2 miles per hour on average in terms of exit velocity. The ability to get the ball in the air a little more, his line drive rate went up from 16.6% to 22.9%. He looks better up there. And, we could talk about, obviously the progressions from guys like Volpe and Cabrera are more shocking because, in Cabrera's case, he went from a guy who you kind of considered an afterthought, a guy who you considered potentially sending down to start the year, to a guy that is like, hey, not Juan Soto, excuse me, DJ LeMahieu, you got to steal your job back, buddy, that kind of thing. But Juan Soto has just gotten better at baseball, and as you mentioned, defensively, the skill progressions there. I think his routes have gotten better. I think the position he plays is also better for him. I think right field at Yankee Stadium is the perfect ballpark for him because he is an arm-first defender, meaning that his skill set is best when he's throwing. In terms of his throwing abilities, he has a pretty good arm. His range has never been great. And look, that's something the Yankees are going to have to contend with for a very long time. But guess what? I kind of don't care. Like, the bat is so good that the value is still there. And if you look at his bat speed, so his bat speed's up from 70.8 miles per hour to 72.6 miles per hour. It was already elite before. Now it's even better. Now it's that much better. His swing intent is higher. He's swinging with a little more oomph to it. He's trying to really crush the baseball, but he's not losing, the aforementioned skills of, all right, let me go out there and let me make sure that let me make sure I'm making contact still, making good swing decisions. He just looks so much better, and this is a trend that we saw last year to the end of the season, September. This is why you bring in Juan Soto. This is what great players do. Great players continue to get better. People forget the guy's 25 years old, right? He can still learn a couple of skills here and there. I remember when Aaron Judge could not pull fly balls. He would not pull the ball in the air. And in 2022, he completely changed it and set the home run record for the American League, right? That happened at age 29, 30. For Juan Soto, He's a young player still. He's still learning his way. He really has never gotten a consistent, like, all right, I'm with this team for a very long time. He had that with the Nationals. A lot of reports came out about how he kind of grew to mistrust people in San Diego because of the fact he was initially traded. I think Yankee Stadium can become home for this guy. And as you mentioned, they cannot afford to lose Juan Soto. He is the heart and soul of the Yankees right now. And this is no slight at Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is in a slump, but he's still putting up a WRC plus around like 130. When Aaron Judge gets clicking, the Yankees are going to be dangerous. And Juan Soto has just taken this team to a whole nother level, Alex.
He absolutely has. And, one of the things that we sorely missed last season was the ability for a player to hit extraordinarily well, aside from Aaron Judge, with runners in scoring position. Now, look, the Yankees have added players this offseason, but Soto's impact in that regard has been next to none. With runners on base this season, he's hitting .583 with a .647 OBP and a 1.083 slugging rate. He has 2 homers, 13 RBIs, and over the 17 plate appearances that he has with RISP, he has 1 strikeout. The guy is clutch. I mean, we watched him read the game on Wednesday. Bases are, he has a chance to load the bases for Aaron Judge right behind him. And there's not many other batters you want up than Aaron Judge. When he's on, some of those hits are homers. And, Soto stands there and he just eats those pitches, takes them. He gets down to a 2-0 count or a 2-1 count, or rather a 1-2 count early. And he just works a walk, despite the fact that the Yankees are down to their last pitch. The guy has ice in his freaking veins. You know what I mean? Like, those are the type of guys you want in big moments. Like, the first series is a great example of that against Houston. Obviously had that, that single to left field that drove in a run that helped us win those games. One of those games and, come back from a deficit. When you're in Houston, in the playoffs, in that atmosphere, and you got Soto up to bat, the chance to win the game, you have a pretty good idea he's coming through. You know what I mean? Like, you feel pretty damn confident that guy is going to, put together a strong at-bat. There's no moment too big for him. He's already won a championship. He already knows what that's like. You know what I mean? The Yankees, Aaron Judge never won a championship. Gleyber Torres has never won a championship. Some of these guys on our team, they don't even know what it looks like to reach a World Series, let alone win one. So that Juan Soto has that dog in him. He has that ice in his veins, and that you cannot replicate that unless you go and get players that have already experienced it at such a young age. Soto knows a regular season game against Houston. Yeah, I've done it in the World Series already. This is no scary moment for you. I don't have nerves in these moments. This is where I dominate. That you can't replicate that confidence, guys. You got to live that confidence. You got to live that moment and know how to operate. So, if you're Hal Steinbrenner and you're making money hand over fist. Last year the Yankees were 82-80, right? 82-80. And they grew 6% in terms of the value of the organization. We're talking tens, maybe $100 million in percentage gains, right? What is it, $6 billion organization right now? They gained 6% despite the fact that they freaking sucked. You pay Juan Soto. You pay Juan Soto because you have the money, because you're going to be winning for a long time, and he's going to be the face of your organization when Aaron Judge inevitably hits a wall, right? He's going to be the face of your team for the long run. Not to mention, your outfield next year is going to have Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez involved, right? And both of those guys are going to be better than Alex Verdugo long term. And I think most people would agree with that. Again, we hope that's the case, but we're pretty optimistic they're going to be better than Verdugo. Look, in outfield, and especially if Stanton's still hitting well, you're looking at one of the best offensive, if not the best offensive outfield in the game. You know what I mean? Not to mention, these guys are friends now. These guys are friendly. Soto's been integrating with the Dominican culture and society here. And you love to see that because he's making it home. You know what I mean? He wants to be here. He wants to be a Yankee. He wants to be in the bright lights. If you want to be in the bright lights, there's no brighter place than New York. And especially if you play well here, you are loved at a level that you can't replicate it. You know what I mean? Like, the fans here are diehard. They're not just bandwagon fans. We are here through the thick and thin. God knows it. So, I think that he understands this. He's going to get paid, and there's not a better place to stay than New York. And I mean, look, right now, if the Yankees let him walk, we would never forgive them. You know what I mean? Like, I seriously think most fans would be completely struck. Like, they would just be blown away. And if people think that Soto's leaving the Yankees at the same price tag to go play for the Mets, you're out of your freaking mind, right? You're out of your mind. There's no reason to leave New York. You still got Garrett Cole, Judge, so much youth. Volpe, obviously looking fantastic to open this year. So, Ryan, I'll let you get your last touches on this topic, but I mean, the consensus is, if you let this guy leave, the fans will never trust the front office again.
Yeah, you can't let him leave. And to your point about like, okay, where will Juan Soto like to go? And I know people are going to comment like, you don't really know, and that's true. We have never spoken to Juan Soto. I've never had a conversation with Juan Soto in my life, so I technically do not actually know. But I will say this. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a Yankee. As you mentioned, if the price point is similar, like, look, if the Mets offer $600 million and the Yankees stop at 450, no duh, he's going to the Mets. Like, I don't think, there's liking a team, then there's $150 million of a difference, right? Like, I'm sure there are players in this league who grew up like Pirates fans, and they will never play for the Pittsburgh Pirates because the money will never be there, right? So, I do understand that portion of it, but I do think the Yankees are, one, going to be aggressive in their offer for him. Two, as you mentioned, they know they can't lose him. They really know they can't lose him. They lose him, and you lose a lot of, you lose kind of money, right? Like you're gonna lose money. You're gonna lose bread. And this team, as you mentioned, is a lot more exciting, and there's a lot more buzz, and there's a lot more, the ballpark. Look at the ballpark, how packed it was, how loud it got for a weekend series. Look, it's a home opener, I get that, but it's the weekend series against the Blue Jays, and then a series against Miami. Right, the Marlins, right? Like, no disrespect to the Marlins, but like, I don't go to Yankee Stadium and think, okay, the one team I'd love the Yankees to face when I go there is the Marlins. Now, granted, when we went, it was still a hell of a time, but that's because of how packed the ballpark was. It was a Wednesday night when we went. Alex, that place was buzzing. Stan hits a home run down 4-0 in a game where it's like, are we actually going to lose to the Marlins? And we did. And the place is going wild. And then Rizzo goes up, and the place is like it woke up the crowd. Let's go. Like, that ballpark is just unbelievable. Roll calls in the 7th inning. Multiple roll calls. Soto, anytime Soto does anything, the double. Alex, you remember how loud it got when that double was hit down the line? To make it a 4-2 game, guys. Not to tie it, not to give the Yankees a lead, to make it a 2-run deficit. For the Yankees to still be losing the game. For the Yankees to still lose the game. That's how loud the ballpark got. Bottom of the 9th. Bases are loaded. Aaron Judge comes up. Good God, that ballpark was just loud. It's a loud ballpark, and that's because Juan Soto's here, and that's because his team's playing good baseball. If they're playing good baseball, and if Juan Soto's doing this in the ballpark, I'm telling you, Hal Steinbrenner's going to look at this and say, this is a financial investment. This investment's not going to make more money. And so, look, when Aaron Judge is no longer as good as he is now, and when Aaron Judge is older, he's got Juan Soto right there. You got a guy that you must watch in New York, and that's Juan Soto. He's a must-watch whatever. I can't imagine watching Yankee baseball right now and not having Juan Soto. That's how ingrained he's become to this team. And you mentioned, like, all right, when Dominguez comes back, who does he replace? The really cool thing about this lineup is that Verdugo has like a 120 WRC plus. Like, we're talking about a guy who has gotten off to a solid start, who hasn't struck out a lot, who's gotten on base, who's done a lot of good things defensively in left field. Like, the lineup's deep, right? Like, the only guys who I think are consistent starters who are either A, are going to be below average hitters, or B, are currently below average hitters in terms of just their straight up results. Is it Wells and Cabrera? Is that really it? The two guys you're like, Cabrera's red hot, but you're not necessarily sure it sticks for the entire year. And I guess Torres has gotten off to a poor start, but I'm pretty confident he'll turn around, and I still feel good about Wells turning it around. So in my head, it's like Volpe, Soto, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Torres, Verdugo, Cabrera, Wells. Like, you look at Rizzo and you maybe go, he's gotten off to a shaky start. But then you look at the numbers and you go, well, yeah, he's got off to a shaky start, but hold on, he has a 125 WRC plus. He has a 369 OBP. He's hitting 281. If he just hits for a little bit more power, we're going to feel so much different about him. It's very interesting how the guys you feel the least good about in this lineup are guys who are either coming off of really good years the year before, or are guys who, like, are hitting well and just aren't as good as Juan Soto or Aaron Judge. So, it's incredible, man. They've been this good without Aaron Judge clicking. They're one of the best offenses in baseball. They're one of the deepest lineups in baseball, and damn, Jason Dominguez on the way. So, for the rest of the league, and this is my fair warning to everybody, I've seen every single tweet calling the Yankees a fourth place team. I've seen every comment saying the Yankees don't know what they're doing. I've seen every talking point about how bad the Yankees player development is, how bad their hitting development is, how bad they are at finding good talent. We're coming. We're here. The New York Yankees, Jason Dominguez is on the way. You want to beat us? This was your chance. Garrett Cole's not here. You're missing your opportunity. If you want to beat us, now's your chance. Because when Garrett Cole comes back and when Jason Dominguez comes back, it won't be so sweet. And even despite the fact that we're so shorthanded, we're without our best pitcher, the best pitcher in baseball, we're still manhandling your favorite teams. the ALCS Astros, manhandled them. Miami Marlins, look, they're bad, but, they went to the playoffs last year. I guess you could say we manhandled them. Toronto Blue Jays, your big addition was Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and we manhandled you. And Cleveland Guardians, 9-3, best record in baseball. Catch that doubleheader sweep. We've won 5 straight series in a row, and yeah, I'm going to talk my crap now, because when this team gets better, when they get Garrett Cole and Jason Dominguez back, it won't be so sweet. They won't be so vulnerable, and they're still winning games while they're being so vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see kind of what happens with this team moving forward, especially when they get more reinforcements back. And the outfield is set up so well to be dominant for a very long time. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts below. I imagine all of the thoughts should be, yeah, we need to extend Juan Soto. I think that's pretty paramount, to say the least. But as always, make sure to like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.